Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brad with Spite Fitness, and I have a very long video. So I don't typically like making videos this long, but this was a session with a soldier working on deadlift, and there really wasn't a great way to chop this up. What I wanted to do was package the whole thing together to really demonstrate all of the conversation that we had and all of my efforts to be helpful. And the hope is that something, any part of this might be helpful to you, whether you have military association or not. There's a lot of information throughout this video that I think is really beneficial and helpful for a lot of people. So if you have the time and the energy, check this out, chop it up in bits, however you want to consume it. But I figure I'll just package it up and leave it there. And you can check it out at your leisure as you see fit. Hopefully there's something in here that helps you or stimulates some thought. It's only ever about trying to help people. So there it is. Check it out. Let me know if you make it all the way through. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brad with Spite Fitness, and a little bit of a different kind of a deal today. Normally today would kind of just be an off day, but I was a little behind. I got some stuck in my shoe. I was a little behind on this week, and so I didn't do training on Thursday, so I made up Thursday's bench training yesterday on Friday, and then I have to make up Friday's squat training today here on Saturday. And I'm going to pop over to Super Gym. I'm thinking I'm going to ride my bike and try to link up with another soldier who reached out to me via Instagram to help him out with some stuff. So go over there, link with him, get my training in, see what I can do to help him with whatever he needs, and yeah, it should be kind of entertaining. So hopefully this will be a opportunity for me to be able to give him some advice and maybe some stuff that'll help you as well. At least we can hope. All right, I gotta get moving, so I'll see you when we get there. All right, quick bike ride over. It's kind of crazy because they're doing the whole 8th Army 75th anniversary thing, so like they have a bunch of stuff going on post concert and some other stuff, so like traffic is a bit crazy. Anyway, got up over here. I'm hanging out with my man. Would you introduce yourself to us?
Luis.
Okay.
I'm a 7th group. That's where I came from. Now I'm with the 94th MP Battalion.
Cool. And what are we gonna work on today?
Today, just clean up my technique on some deadlifts. Hopefully I can hit some PRs in the next few weeks with whatever Brad teaches me. So. Cool.
All right, cool. So hopefully we can get on, see how he does, and help him out a little bit. And he's gonna do some deading. I'm gonna do some squatting, and it should be a good day. So we're gonna get set up and get ready to rock. Try to pull the shoulders back a little bit. There you go, good. Better, much better. How's that feel? Good.
I feel like I can breathe more too.
Good.
I'm just rolling back.
Good, yeah. Make a big breath, retention to the bar, squeeze. There you go, good. Good. Good.
Go.
Those look good. Always remember that when you're holding on to the bar, that your arms are just hooks, right? So don't ever try to, especially if you're doing the mixed grip, because I've popped 2 biceps. So I had to have that one reattached and this one reattached. So never ever try to like curl it. Always just make sure that the arms are straight. In fact, even try to engage those triceps to lock those arms out and make sure that you're not bending the elbow. You weren't there, but that's just a word of warning. 110, 220, 265 plus 70, so 335. About 100 pounds less than max. Okay.
Yeah, last week at the video I sent, I think that one was 355, and that was just like triples. But I'm gonna try to incorporate now what I picked up earlier.
Yeah. The vast majority of my work is all sub-maximal. All right, so lower than max, so you get volume, typically somewhere between 60 and like 80%. and it ranges between usually doing 5s and 3s. That's where I spend the majority of my time, 5s and 3s.
And then for accessories,
The way that I do accessories is everything is geared toward the main movement. Again, because I compete in powerlifting, and the only thing I give a shit about is my 3 max total. Every accessory exercise I choose is based on how much it supports the main movement.
okay, yeah, because I know my accessories usually would be followed by some barbell rows, and then I'll do some weighted chin-ups, and I'll do some extensions, some ab rows.
Yeah, those are all good things to incorporate because they specifically tie into deadlift, right? So mid back strength, upper back strength, really great. Help you be able to finish the lift. Lower back strength, glute stuff, very good. I don't mess around with ab work because I get a lot of my ab work by all that abdominal bracing. So I don't do any other specific ab work. But that's not to say that you can't or you shouldn't. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, for me, I try to do ab work because my neck is small, so on tape I'm like at 20%, almost like pretty high. But my waist is like usually like 30, but my neck is like sometimes 14.5,
Gotcha.
15.
Gotcha.
So, but I feel like it's helped a lot.
Good.
So.
Big breath. Brace hard. Drive. Okay. There you go. Good. Good. I like that second rep a little bit better. It looked like it had a little bit more power to it.
Felt smoother. I feel the first one was kind of lazy how you said it. I didn't finish at the top. The second one kind of felt more preloaded in my hand.
Don't forget those glutes. Drive the glutes forward because it helps finish out that lift and give you strength for finishing the lift. So instead of just relying on that lower back to finish, right? If you push those glutes forward, it can help you to finish the lift.
As far as I know, for me, I try to alternate days to use the belt and not beltless. Say if I wanted to get stronger, or if I'm planning to max out, should I train a few weeks out primarily with the belt to get comfortable with, I guess, that abdominal pressure? Or?
So they've done some studies where they tested muscle activation with belt and without belt. So the studies revealed that you get better muscle activation with a belt on than without. So in almost all cases, it's better to have a belt on than not to, because it gives you a kinesthetic cue. There's something there for you to push against. It gives you that kinesthetic cue, so you actually brace harder with a belt on. So I'm always a fan of training with a belt. Typically, anything I'm over 50%, my belt's on, always. And that way I'm always used to having the belt on, but then I'm also getting the most out of my abdominal bracing as I can versus not having a belt on. Most of the time when I see people talk about or doing beltless, I'm doing beltless, for me it's straight bro science. Like, it's total bullshit. So I'm not a big fan of it, but there are some guys that absolutely swear by it. You look at Constantine, his whole thing, this is my fucking belt. Strong dude, pulled over 800 pounds, no belt. But I think for the average person, having a belt on is a much better idea than not.
Okay, yeah, because that's usually how I try to do it. Like, just to feel how it is when I'm without a belt, and once I get heavier, that's when I'll try to put on the belt.
I don't mind warming up and getting moving without a belt on. But like I said, once I'm hitting my working sets, or once I'm after anything up over 50% typically, belts right away, belts on.
Okay.
And I'll play. I like the fact that you have the prong belt. I'll play. No, go like this. Just give it some slack, and that way it'll pop out. I like the fact that you have the prong belt because you can adjust on the fly with some of those lever belts. The high-speed SPD one, you can adjust on the fly, but other ones you actually have to have a screwdriver or something and take it apart and then reassemble it in order to change the tightness. So I'll lift on different days with different tightnesses depending on what I'm doing. So if I'm going for like a super maximal weight, I might go tighter than normal, but for sub-maximal weights, sometimes I'll go just a little bit lighter on the belt so that it's not super binding.
Okay.
Just kind of depends, but the ability to pivot is what I like the most.
And do you have an Einzer belt?
Yeah, I have the Inzer, the Forever belt.
Yeah, I tried ordering one, but something about sending it through customs here, so I ended up just getting this one on Amazon.
Okay.
So I tried that. My buddy has a Einzer or Inzer, however you say it.
Yeah.
It feels pretty solid. So.
Yeah, I love the Forever belt. Plus, it has the warranty. I mean, it literally will last forever. In fact, my dad has one from a long time ago that we still have. Big brace. There you go. Drive. Good. 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 Smooth. Very smooth.
As far as resting goes, like when this is for strength, I know before I would be kind of like big on time and all that, you know, watching all the YouTube stuff. But would you say that it's important to focus on time or more by feel?
So everything about lifting needs to be goal oriented, right? So like anytime that you're looking to schedule your training or however you want to do things, right? It needs to all be based on what your goal is. So if your goal is to be super in shape and super fit and whatever else, then you may be more worried about rest time, cutting down rest time and making sure that you're keeping your pace, your op tempo like super high, because then you're just go, right? And then that builds a certain level of fitness, right? Whereas if you're worried more about optimal strength and being as strong as you can, I would say you rest as long as it takes until you feel like you're ready to go again. Not so much that you're cold, but not so quick that you're still like trying to catch your breath, right? Because sometimes after a big heavy set, or like a big heavy double or single, like you're kind of out of breath, you're like breathing hard. You want to make sure that you're totally ready to be able to go after the next set. So that's how I approach that. So again, based on whatever your goal is, if you're thinking more like general army fitness, blah blah blah, then you might want to be a little bit more on the time, where you set yourself to like a 1 minute or 2 minute timer, or whatever it ends up being. Whereas if you're just worried about maximum power, I would say rest as long as you need.
Okay.
Yeah. Big breath. There you go. Good. Head up. Squeeze the glutes. Drive glutes. Attaboy. Neutral head. Big breath. Good. Attaboy. Good. Smooth. Attaboy. Good. Good. Very good.
Feels super smooth, actually.
It looks smooth. It's a smooth pace from beginning to end. There's no jerking. There's no twisting. I'm not seeing any knee collapse. I don't see any hip shift. Very technically sound. It looks like. The other thing that I like is how when you approach the bar, you leave the bar where it is. So instead of trying to move the bar around, because the bar will naturally settle somewhere, right? And so if you try to move it now from where it's settled, it'll try to resettle. So I like that you set up where the bar is versus trying to put the bar somewhere else. You know what I mean? And have it fiddle with it. So it's a good thing to do. It's just a little thing, but it's a good thing.
I feel like I'm able, because before I used to breathe from down here.
Yeah.
And then kind of go like that. Whereas how you showed me starting from it feels tighter.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I go like this and then tighten, it feels like some pressure lets off at some point.
Right. So I like coming down kind of empty. So you'll even see me breathe out up top. I'll come down, I'll get set, I'll lean over, get that breath, and then I'll settle into bringing it back down, and then launching out of the deadlift from there.
Pulling, so how a lot of people like jerk like the bar. I know a lot of my buddies that actually they can pull like a pretty good amount of weight more than me, but I notice when they pull like that, it kind of looks like thoracic part or however you say it, kind of round a little forward. They're still able to hit it.
The thoracic rounding.
But it just feels like, just looking painful just to watch from the side. It's still like pretty impressive that they can lift up like kind of like mid 400s or whatever, but it just kind of seems crazy how the back rounds, whereas how you say stop, reset, and pull.
Yeah.
It just looks
So a little bit of that thoracic rounding, right? It's not necessarily super bad, because to some extent everyone's going to have a little bit of thoracic rounding, right? But obviously, the more rigid you can stay, the less that you're giving up slack, the better. What really is bad when you start seeing that lumbar rounding, where they're rounding like this, and it looks like kind of like a dog taking a shit. That's really where you start getting into the potential for some good injury. So keeping that lower back from rounding out too much is, I'd say, much more important than the thoracic piece. But both, as much as you can maintain kind of integrity of the spinal position, the better you're going to be. And that's all done by kind of building up weaknesses as you find them. You know, figuring out, okay, is my lower back weak, is my mid back weak, you know, and then kind of working on those weaknesses in concurrence with all your other training.
Yeah, because I know whenever I train deadlift, as compared to those guys, because we'll do like deadlift days or like what they'll call like deadlift parties or whatever. I know they ask me the next day, like, is your back sore or whatever. I'm like, the only thing that's like sore is like my traps or anything, but they'll tell me like their glutes and their like lower back is killing them, they can barely move and all that. So I just take it as like a result of like maybe sloppy form kind of.
Could be.
You know,
could be.
Because I'm not sure personally, I've never like actually really felt sore in my lower back area doing deadlifts. So I'm not sure if that's something you're supposed to actually feel or.
I mean, no, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, obviously, it's something that does work the lower back, spinal rectors. But if you're doing a really good job of getting everything working at the same time, and one of the other real big cues that people talk about is versus, like, imagine the difference of doing an extension, right, versus pushing the floor away from you. So if you're able to push the floor away from you a little bit better, like, you're going to protect that lower back better, and it's going to have to work on its own less. And so again, the more everything's kind of working together cooperatively, each muscle is doing less overall work than having to stand out and make up for some deficiency, right? Whereas if everything is contributing, it makes it easier on everything altogether. Drive, that boy. Good. Real good. Good. Drive, that boy. Squeeze. Good. Solid. You were talking a little bit about what your split is, so go ahead and tell everybody what your split looks like now.
So right now, what I got my split down to is, today, for example, is a pull day, so it's emphasis around deadlift. So afterwards, I'll do barbell rows, some weighted chin-ups, some back extensions, and some farmer walks to work the grip. The next day would be like a pressing movement. So tomorrow would be more overhead press, and then work towards like dumbbell press, you know, some shoulders, some tricep work accessories. And I'll do legs afterwards, so it'll be squats, stiff leg deadlifts, all that other stuff. I try to do more for feel as well sometimes, because during the week with PT and all that, sometimes maybe they'll have you do like a long distance run or maybe sprints or whatever. So that kind of takes a toll on how my performance will be as far as strength. So as far as like rest days in between, I'll try to rest maybe 1 day or 2 days, but I go more for like feel, not so much sore, but I just feel like overall fatigue. So.
Cool. And you were saying that's different than what you used to do, because you were doing something different before.
It was more like bro splits, so it was kind of like chest triceps,
back and bis and chest and tris.
Yeah,
okay.
And it kind of worked in the beginning, but then afterwards I started trying to read more like starting strength, and then looking at pages like yours and a few other guys on YouTube. So I started shifting it more towards that. So I felt it more with this. I feel like as I started going higher with weight, I started hitting like a wall, because all the stuff that I do like with actual PT and all that. So I'm not sure if it's the frequency, like with how I have my splits, or how I can optimize my training more to get stronger.
So there's a lot to kind of cover there, right? So when we're talking about the bro split and stuff like that, a lot of people, a lot of soldiers and other folks get on when they first start lifting, they get to a kind of a bro split. And especially when you first start getting going, you can do just about anything, and you're going to see results, right? Because you're untrained. What ends up happening is the more you train, the higher training that you get, and the more you get closer to your peak physical ability, the slower and slower the gains come, right? Gains come real fast at first, and then they taper off, and it becomes very slow and incremental. So if you're just kind of getting into things, the bro split may not be a bad way to go, especially if it kind of fits your lifestyle and time and schedule and whatever else, right? As you get closer and you want to try to maximize strength, a I'm a big fan of, you know, building around strength. And so what you're doing now is more in line of the big movements and then movements that support those movements, right? So getting those accessory muscles built up and supporting that main effort, which is exactly what I do now. So that, I really like that. Now in terms of, you know, we're talking about that reservoir, right? That well of ability that you have. You know, all of us have a set reservoir. And depending on what we have going on in our lives, all kinds of things and stress and events all dip into that reservoir. So stress is stress, right? So your body doesn't differentiate between a 5-mile run and a set of, you know, 30, you know, squats, right? It's all stress. And at the end of the day, you only have so much of a reservoir for which to dip into. So you do have to have that kind of feel-based approach to be able to monitor how you're doing. Because if we sit down right now and we write out a program, so say for the next 6 months, we say, hey, this is what you're going to do every single day for the next 6 months. We've written that program in a vacuum. We have no idea of knowing how you're going to feel 3 months from now. So to be able to have that feel-based, that intuition, is a really good thing, right? A program is great because it gives us something to shoot for, but you have to have that intuition to know, how do I feel? Am I run down? Did I just spend 3 weeks in the field? You know, my girlfriend broke up with me, you know, and I feel like I'm catching a cold. Well, if all those things are going on, you're already depleted. It doesn't make any sense to charge headlong into a grueling workout and then just put yourself into a hole. So in that sense, you have to have that intuition base, and it's good that you're moving that direction. Now, in terms of what ends up happening with like unit PT, for the majority of us, we have no control over what ends up happening, right? We're subject to whatever we're told to go do. And so based on whatever you're told to do, you may have to make some adjustments in your personal training program to account for, you know, whatever it is that you're required to do via the Army PT, right? And it's just something that you just have to play by ear. And, you know, on any given day, you may have what your goal is, but if Army PT wore you down because you guys, you know, hit a lot of long runs in 1 week, then maybe, excuse me, maybe that week you have to dial it back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I hope that helps you guys too in terms of talking about how to adjust your own PT schedule versus, you know, what you're required to do for the Army. So just food for thought. There you go. Sink that butt a little bit. There you go. Drive. Attaboy. Good. Good.
Second one felt better.
Yeah, because you sunk your butt a little bit more.
Yeah.
So again, the same thing I was telling him. The more you can sink that butt, right, and get the butt up underneath the shoulders, the less of a moment arm you have. But the more that butt is out, the longer moment arm, right? So it's a ton of stress in the lower back. So if you get set up and you get your butt up underneath you and drive and keep that butt up underneath your shoulders, the more power you're going to be able to administer to the bar. All right, cool. So we're going to close things down right now, just kind of wrapping down the deadlift portion of things. We have my buddy over here that kind of tied in with us as well. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Robert Douglas.
All right, so my man was hanging out. You know, he was kind of came in separately on his own, but, you know, heard the advice and things like that, want to kind of jump in, ask me to take a look at his deadlift as well. And so, you know, we talked about some key things. So what were maybe a couple things that we talked about for you?
Oh, my biggest portion was keeping my hips low. I was doing more of a straight leg deadlift than an actual deadlift.
Getting your butt up underneath your shoulders?
Yeah, I was killing my lower back and getting my butt under my shoulders, and I think attacking the bar before I lifted it up, that helped a lot.
That pre-tensioning?
The pre-tension, and it changed the way I looked at deadlifts.
So you feel like even just that little bit that made a difference?
Oh, that made a huge difference.
All right, cool. So, you know, for you guys that are home, just like little things, little subtle things can sometimes make a huge difference, especially if you guys are newer lifters and getting down those mechanics. All right, so then going to you, my man, we talked a lot on the deadlift as well. You know, what were a couple of the things that we talked about with you?
So for me, it was head position. I was looking straight down, and my shoulders were a little rolled forward, so I wasn't pre-tensioning the bar.
Giving that thoracic position up?
Yeah, so what helped me was when I was able to look up, it felt easier to kind of open my chest up, kind of pre-tension the bar. I sent Brad a video last week on my deadlift technique. It was a 355 for triple. That one felt like a grinder today. Felt real smooth. I actually did 375 for a double, tried 385, but was pretty exhausted, but it helped everything. I feel like I can now move up and implement that for the coming months to come. Cool.
So you feel like even a couple of things that we gave for you as well made a big difference, maybe just even one session?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was able to have a more internal abdominal pressure for the drive, and my hips coming through too. I was not having a solid
finishing
lockout.
strong.
It was a pretty lazy lockout, and that helped a lot too. So
cool. All right, guys. So, hey, for any of you that are out there, especially for any of you, service members, Marines, airmen, soldiers, Coast Guard. Any of you that are out there as service members, hopefully this stuff will help you guys. Being able to improve your life through strength is a big difference. Obviously, it can make a huge impact on your service and your ability to do the things that you're required to do. So hopefully some of this resonates with you guys. If you guys have any specific questions, comments, or concerns, leave in the chat box below. I'll be sure to respond. I appreciate you guys checking out these videos, and you can help me a lot by sharing it with your friends, family, team, squad, whatever. It'd make a big difference for me. The more I can get it out there and try to help as many people as I can, it would mean a lot to me. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, like subtle improvements, right? Subtle improvements. Got to get in and train despite, guys. You're either going to find an excuse, you're going to find a way, and I hope that you continue to find the way. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.